So here's the speaker. It's laying on its back. We're looking at the bottom now. The furthest away point is the top. This is the front. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mitigate any issues with the veneer telegraphing or showing the seam. I'm going to have a tweeter, a woofer, and I'm going to put some pretty expensive veneer on this. And what I don't want is for this seam to show up as a raised portion on the veneer. When it gets real shiny, that kind of stuff shows up real bad. So what I've done is I put this 1/8 inch HDF, high density fiberboard piece on here after I've sanded everything completely as flush as I can possibly get it with a big block sander. So I glued this onto this. I also glued a piece onto the top here. It's overhanging by 1/8 of an inch or so. And I will put a piece on this front after I trim this. But the problem is, or the difficulty or challenge is trimming this. If you can see, but it wouldn't have been smart for me to try to angle these things perfectly here and here, because I'm sure I wouldn't have got it right, and when I glued it, I'm sure it would have shifted. So trimming it afterwards is not a big deal, but it definitely needs to get done. Trimming this part here, since this is a 90-degree angle to this, I'll just do a regular trim bit in the router. But this and this, those are going to be a little tougher to trim. So I've made a tool that I've used before. That's what the purpose of this is, to show you the use of that tool and just an idea of how to get around that. So let's go. Let's run it through and we'll see how it works. So here's the tool that I'm going to use. I've made this some time ago for a speaker project several years back. Basically, it's one of Harbor Freight Tools' cheap flush trim, trim routers. 30 or so bucks on sale. Just made this little apparatus just to hold it in place. Nothing, no big deal, but this plate here is what actually is going to rest on this part of the speaker, and this cutter is what's going to remove this material. So I've made interchangeable pieces here. This is an 8-inch long piece, and and this part here, there's different screws, so this can move this way and that way, and I've got bigger and smaller pieces. But the trick with this is, where you can screw something up, is you have to keep this part pressed pretty firm down to this. If it wobbles, then you're gonna really make a mess of this and have a lot of filling to do, which is no fun. But as long as you know what how to use it, and you gotta figure out how to work each tool, but it works pretty good. So let me turn it on and show you how it works. Okay, that came out pretty good. Let me get a closer look for you. Okay, so this is what we did. Not sure how well this is showing up, but try to do a little flyby. You see a couple little boogers here where it's flaked up just a bit. It's just a smidge proud. Just by applying a little bit of pressure one way or the other, you could probably get that to gouge in a bit or just be a bit proud. I'll leave it a bit proud. I have a sanding block that I use to trim that up. Let me move over here. This is the one I just did before taping, and this one is pretty good. You can see a spot here where it just took the skin of the MDF off. That's, again, the bad side of that tool is you can get all goofed up if you apply pressure in the wrong spot. So, but anyway, it's a pretty effective and quick way to trim up irregular shapes as long as you have a flat spot in here. So here's a closer look at the tool that I made. It's just a bunch of 2x4s cut up. Nothing special at all. It's got this little backbone here just to keep it rigid and keep it from flexing, hopefully. Just a couple of 2x4s. I just notched a couple holes in to accept the trim router. There's a little wooden arch piece here, and then this hose clamp keeps it's in there pretty good. It doesn't really move, but that was super easy. And basically what I have here is this piece just happens to be an 8-inch long piece. This is what rides on the surface, and it's exactly even with the cutter of this bit. So this comes off. You see I've got holes, lots of holes here, so that I can align it here, or here, or here, or here, whatever. I have made other pieces. This is a 7-inch piece, same deal. I offset the screw hole to end distance here to here, so this might get you a little closer to that, or this might, depending on what you're doing. This is a 3.5-inch piece, same deal. The less and less of this resting surface that you have to rest on your piece, the more wobbly this thing becomes, because you can see how big it is. It's really easy to wobble this thing and make make gouges and stuff. So it really relies on a lot of, it's almost like a hand tool. It's just powered by electricity, but you really have to like be careful. But it's super simple. It didn't take me long. It probably took me half a day to make it. And what it ended up doing was this. It took that almost smooth. I've hit it a little bit with my sanding block just to get it even, but that's basically the idea. I was able to trim this one, this angle here, and this angle here. As long as you have a flat piece to run the resting piece of that tool on, you can trim anything, kind of any angle, as long as you have room for it. It is a little wide. That's, I'm guessing, 17 inches wide from here to here, but because this protrudes and it's replaceable with different pieces, you're kind of going from here to your cutter, as long as you have room to do it. Anyway, I'm blabbering. The idea behind this whole process of putting these 1/8-inch pieces of high density fiberboard is so that I won't have an issue with the seams telegraphing through. So this piece is going to get glued on here. This is the front of the speaker, and I've got some expensive bobinga going on these, and I don't want any issues, or I don't want any wavies or anything. I'm trying to get them really nice and shiny so they really, really, really look nice. Finishing is not my strong suit, but hopefully this helps mitigate any of those issues. So I still have to trim this to this, but I'll just use a regular flush trim bit on a router, and again hit it with a sand block. But once this is all smooth and flush, and I'm confident that it's fine, then I will glue that piece of high density fiberboard onto this, and I'll have a really smooth surface. Alright, I just wanted to show you a little bit about this. I don't even know what to call it. Irregular angle trimming tool. Irregular angle trimming tool. That sounds nice. Sure, let's go with that. I probably should write that on there so I don't forget what it is. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye bye.